So, Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy has issued a new warning to the House Select Committee investigating January 6th. In a letter to Chairman Thompson, McCarthy said the committee's work will be investigated once Republicans take the control of the House in January. McCarthy, who did not comply with a subpoena to appear before the committee, demanded the panel preserve its records. House rules already require that the committee do so, and they'll be doing so for a number of reasons. Anyhow, McCarthy goes on to accuse the panel of not telling the full story of January 6th, the attack on the Capitol, and pledges to hold hearings on it in the future. Speaking to reporters off camera yesterday, Chairman Thompson responded to McCarthy's letter, saying in part, he had a chance to have members on the committee. We will do our work and we will end December 31st. If he wants to conduct whatever he wants as Speaker, it is his choice. Joe, what is Kevin McCarthy doing? Is it another hot stove thing or what?
Well, you know, as Ronald Reagan would say, there they go again. It's David Ignatius. There they go again. Again, they learned absolutely no lessons from what has happened to them in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and 2022. And instead, they're making all of these decisions and mistakes that framing a small House majority that Democrats will be able to use effectively against them over the next 2 years and into the 24 election. But McCarthy, instead of trying to play to voters that they keep losing by talking about taxes, by talking about balanced budgets, by talking about regulatory relief, or whatever Republicans want to talk about to get those suburban voters back. They're doing these extreme things, virtue signaling, talking about investigating the investigators. It was a disaster for Durham. It'll be even worse for these people. And defending, coming out and demanding justice for the January 6 rioters and insurrectionists. These are the very people who lost the suburbs for Republicans, who lost the 22 election for Republicans, who lost the 2020 election for Republicans, who lost all of those other elections for Republicans. And they're running straight toward the same tornado that keeps knocking their house down.
You might say they're ignoring the first rule of holes, which is stop digging.
Yeah.
And they keep digging. They seem determined to relitigate the Jan 6 hearings, do all the things that they would have done if they'd taken part in the hearings in the first place. I think we're going to have a circus in the House no matter what. No sign that the Republicans will see that getting something done legislatively makes more sense than these sort of agitprop moves. The action that we need to focus on, I think, is going to take place at the Justice Department and in federal district courts. The conviction of Stuart Rhodes of Oath Keepers for seditious conspiracy is a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's obvious that our Attorney General, Merrick Garland, sees it as a significant precedent or basis for further prosecutions of that type.
Yeah.
They're seeing that the courts will accept this very deep description of what happened January 6th. And if Merrick Garland decides to keep going with that and move up and take the evidence that the January 6th committee provides and begin to turn it into actual legal cases, Kevin McCarthy in the House
it's a parallel universe.
Hold all the hearings they want, but the action in the litigation and the decisions people will face about whether to cooperate or whether to face really significant prison time that's going to be, I think, the issue of the next year. Not all this.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think you have on one hand, you have the Republican Party on every level, the battle for the RNC chair, whatever Kevin McCarthy's strategy is, which I don't think it's three-dimensional chess. I think he doesn't know, and Marjorie Taylor Greene's participation in policy committees. There's an identity crisis playing out here? Who are they for? What are they for? What are they fighting for? And then on the other hand, to David's point, you have Merrick Garland and the Department of Justice. And I think he deserves, and they deserve some credit here. And I was speaking with a Department of Justice official a couple weeks ago who described Merrick Garland as a quiet storm, somebody who builds. That is what he is doing. They went big with Stewart Rhodes. There are more seditionists. They are going to continue to prosecute. He's obviously has Jack Smith in charge, who is a guy who is prosecuting war criminals. This is a complete badass guy who's doing this, and they are doing serious work here. Well, there's an identity crisis going on the other side.
And that work won't stop, Joe. So given that, isn't this the opportunity for the Republicans, whether it's the right thing to do, whether they want to win, or whether they just don't want to look stupid, sort of trying to investigate January 6th while the DOJ is doing their job? Wouldn't this be the moment to press reset and find that old Republican Party again that actually had conservative values and policies?
Yeah, well, you would think so. Again, we talk about it every day. If you're not going to do it for the right reason, do it for the wrong reason. Just do it. Move away from the extremism. I mean, again, this is simple math. Jim Messina, this is simple math. You've run elections. I've run in a few small elections on a congressional side, and we all had our extremists, right? We all had the people in the crowds, and you're like, okay, they're over there. You leave that door. Like, what? They're saying crazy things, and I'm not going to get you on camera with them saying crazy. Right? So they're extremists. There have been extremists on both sides. The important thing is you stay away and you try to mainstream. You try to mainstream your message. Like the Democrats. Democrats, I think we both agree, should have gotten slaughtered this past year. They should have been wiped out because of inflation, because of crime concerns, the chaos at the southern border. That may not mean anything to some people, but that means a hell of a lot to people in Arizona. It means a hell of a lot to people in other swing districts. But they're playing to the most extreme in their caucus, and in so doing, they're saying the hell with voters in the Philly suburbs. They're saying the hell to the swing voters in the Detroit suburbs. They're saying the hell to the all-important Atlanta swing voters in the suburbs there. And it keeps coming at a cost, does it not?
It really does, Joe. And you just look at the election we just had. These swing voters rejected the Republican Party. History taught us that Republicans should have picked up 30 House seats. They should have picked up an average of 4 Senate seats. Instead, Democrats had a historic election, in part because these mainstream voters that you're talking about, the voters that actually decide American elections, who thought inflation was bad and everyone thought they were going to go to the Republicans, went to the Democrats by double digits because the Republicans drove them there. The Republicans literally said, we are just about election denial. We're just about kind of these conspiracy theories of our base. And voters rejected it over and over. And instead, Kevin McCarthy is steering right back into it. It is just political malpractice, Joe.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it is. And Willie, again, let's take a step back and remember what you and I heard, what Mika heard, what we heard from Democratic friends, from liberal friends for the year leading into the election. And it was, man, the Democratic Party. I mean, I don't think in New York, I don't think they get it on crime. I don't think they get it on quality of life issues. I know people on Twitter, progressives on Twitter, hate hearing this. But, man, liberal Democrats constantly talking about wokeism. They're hurting our party. And there were all of these complaints about how extreme the Democratic Party was getting and why they were going to lose voters. Republicans said, we'll see you're crazy, and we'll throw in a couple of $1,000s of crazy on top of that. And they did. So you have swing voters going, okay, yeah, some of the woke stuff on the college campus, I don't like that. I don't know if Biden has an answer on inflation, but what are the Republicans talking about? I got these 14 mailers about trans swimmers. And I think they're like 2 or 3 in our state. So I guess I'm going to go with the Democrats. That's exactly what happened. Yep. The Republicans had this race in their hands. Kevin McCarthy was right. They should have picked up 60 seats.